G'day viewers, it's the end of another week.
Hi.
Look, proof of life!
How you going?
Proof of life! He's still here!
Yeah, I got dragged out of my slumber and put on a train, and then there was this romantic thing where I was with a scientist in the Bombay of a Lancaster, and I got smuggled out of Germany.
Oh, and what a week you've chosen to come back.
Yeah.
Yet again, I'm not saying, look, we are now seeing the first anniversary of the election of the Abbott Conservative government in Australia.
Doesn't my heart feel good? My bum feels sore, but my heart feels good.
Our heart just soars, and as satirists, it's the gift that never stops giving.
I don't even have to be a satirist, I can just be a mimic.
Yeah.
Really?
And this is yet another week where everything fucked up we're going to talk about is all about Australia.
Australia, it's all homegrown.
And I really want to talk about, I pick on different government ministers over time. Which one's been the most fucked? Here's a new one. Our industry minister, Ian McFarlane.
Ian. Oh, he's the man.
See, where he comes into...
He's got a portfolio.
One of the many fucked things Tony Abbott did when he became PM was get rid of a ministry for science. This has existed since, I don't know, the 30s, since someone first said, hey, I think science might have something to do with our future.
Science is dope and ace, man.
Yeah, so since it first came in as a portfolio, every government had a science minister. Abbott's just kind of gone, oh, science? What's that about? Yeah. This is the same guy who said climate change is crap. And he has rolled...
Science is for pufters.
Most of the responsibilities for science have rolled into the industry portfolio. And that kind of tells you all you need to know. Like, if you cunts aren't making money, I don't want to fucking know about you. So we have what's known as the
mine, you don't get to science it.
The CSIRO, the Commonwealth Serums and something and Research Organisation.
Science and Industry Research Organisation.
Basically, they've done amazing. They actually discovered, invented Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And a million other things.
Yeah.
They have done amazing things for Australia and the world. And Abbott's just randomly go, oh, I should probably cut $100 million from the budget. A couple billion, maybe. What? Fuck them, man.
They're brilliant and genius. We should probably cop them up the ass.
Yeah.
Cop them up the ass.
Instead of, there's no science minister now, so the industry minister is responsible for the things that come under the umbrella of science. And this week, just to make up with the scientists, he said, oh, you know what? The scientists who complain that we don't have a science ministry?
Complainers.
Precious petals. That is the actual phrase he used to describe them. Precious petals. So these people who drive society forward, who open new horizons, who give us a future, they're precious petals. I'm just going to go on a limb here.
Go out on a limb. Go out on a limb. No one's going to saw it off in the current government.
I would prefer a scientist who's a precious petal to a politician who's an utter cunt.
Oh, that's conjecture.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. I like politicians.
And I don't know if McFarlane thought mouthing off at the scientists would bring him into line. But you might be surprised at the extent to which scientists have gone, you're a cunt, shut up.
And they have.
They've basically said, really? Oh, we fucking hate you so much, man. We hate... And this is the country I live in, where you can fucking be taken vaguely seriously when you drop shit on people who are a million times more intelligent than you.
Yeah, no. And of course, our model of economy used to be industry and rural, and now we're going to a knowledge economy, which is all innovation and technology, which is why you don't need scientists.
Yeah, so we are... I am not joking.
Hang on. It's the other thing, isn't
it?
It's the other
cutting
one.
$100 million from scientific research. We are making scientists unemployed. For fuck's sake! It just blows my mind how stupid this government can be. And it's one thing when they stupidly attack their opponents, like scientists, but I particularly love it when they don't realise when they're setting themselves up. Like, let's talk about independent commissions against corruption.
Right.
This is something that I think pretty much every state in the country has.
And
an
started
ICAC.
off in New South Wales
Yeah.
when they found out that 2 out of every 3 cops in the 1970s was murdering and stealing.
And also, not to put too fine a point on it, a Labor government has been in power for over a decade, and any political party that holds power for a really long time gets really, really corrupt. So when the Conservatives got in power in the 80s, led by one Nick Greiner, they went, blah, payback time.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him.
Let's have an independent investigation thing going on, and we'll find out about corruption. And that's all well and good.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him.
Unless you gloss over the fact that your guys are also corrupt as fuck.
I say, I bronze up. They're not going to find shit on me, are they?
Aha! And in fact, the Premier himself, the guy who invented the Independent Corruption Commission Against Corruption, got found that technically his actions were corrupt.
And wasn't he spewing?
Oh, yeah. And then he dumped shit on the actual guy that he personally hand-picked, which doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
Now, look, that's the olden days. That's the olden days.
The modern days.
The modern days have changed. What's happened now is that there was a Labor government in for all about 10 years.
Yeah, okay. And
so
they work with unions and stuff who are corrupt.
Corrupt as
So
hell.
let's start investigating again.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him. We're going to get him.
But let's gloss over the fact that you can't have half of an industry be corrupt. Everyone has to be corrupt. So if the union leadership is corrupt, they can only be corrupt if the building developers are also corrupt. So the unions...
They have to have help.
The unions contribute to the pseudo-left-wing Labour Party. The developers, the property magnates, the billionaires contribute to the Conservative Liberal National Party coalition. So when you have an independent investigation, it tends to find everyone's corrupt. And he's got to the stage in New South Wales. It's happening all over, but New South Wales is a particular highlight.
Yes, it is a highlight.
I think it's up to about a dozen Liberal Party members have been fingered by the Independent Commission Against Corruption. And they're now sitting on the crossbench, which means to save a little bit of face for their party, they resigned from their party. So you can't say there's anyone in the Liberal Party who's corrupt because they've resigned and they're not in the Liberal Party. But they're sitting on the crossbenches, as opposed to jail.
So they're now independent while being politicians and waiting for the next election.
Yeah, which is later this year, which just mildly looks like the Liberal Party, the Conservatives in Australia, in New South Wales, being creamed like you wouldn't believe.
Hardcore. And the rules, this whole thing came about because the rules are very simple. If you're a politician in Australia, you're not allowed to accept donations from building developers.
Because they rely on the government to make decisions on is this development
going to go
ahead or not. So if you took money from them as political contributions, it could be seen as buying your favour. So they are prohibited donors. But what has happened is the Liberal Party in New South Wales has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from property developers.
Each.
Yeah, and it's just in multiple occasions. And it's been, what has come up more than once in ICAC is people being grilled by council saying, hey, so when this property developer offered you a donation that went into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, did you ask anyone if that was legal?
No.
And it seems to be, it's like, they're like a fucking toddler that they've gone, if I don't ask mum, I can't get in trouble for something I know I'm not allowed to do.
Yeah.
If I ask mum, can I have chocolates before dinner?
And she'll say no.
She'll say no. So if I don't ask mum and just eat a bunch of chocolates, I haven't done anything wrong.
Hey.
You would be surprised that an independent commission against corruption says that's not completely on.
Yeah, no, not allowed to do that. Yeah, Bronzer, not
So-
allowed to do that, matey.
And this has actually reached as far as our Prime Minister's main advisor, Peter Cridland, getting emails from this guy. I think he runs a brick-making company, has donated hundreds of thousands of dollars that he kind of wasn't allowed to donate because he could have been getting favour from like, and she's emailed people going, oh yeah, this guy's like our #1 supporter. We should listen to him. Apart from the fact the law says you shouldn't. You really, really shouldn't.
You're not allowed to.
Because that would be corrupt. At the moment, it's only New South Wales politicians, but it's let's say lapping at the shores of our federal government.
Oh, let's say they're in it up to their chins, but no one's noticed the level yet.
And the hilarious part of this is conservative pundits, like in Murdoch-owned media, saying, "Oh, these ICACs, they've gone too far. They're bad news."
Yeah, no, they've gone right outside the terms of reference. No, they didn't actually.
The terms was finding guys we don't like guilty. Finding our guys guilty?
Not on.
Not on.
Not on. Not cool. Not cool.
No. And they just say this like they don't expect anyone to say, I'm sorry, you're telling us we don't need independent reviews of corruption because they keep finding corruption. That seems to be the logic that conservative pundits are employing at the moment. So at the moment we're just waiting with bated breath how far this can go. Like the federal government has been launching royal commissions, which is the most sort of extreme judicial process you can do in Australia, and they're investigating trade unions because they're pretty sure they're going to get Labor. And even just this week they had former Prime Minister Julia Gillard like, yeah, we're totally gonna get her this time.
We're gonna get him.
They have her in the witness box the whole day. And they just go, what about this? And she just bats it back to them every time. They've got her in a court setting for a day and they can't get anything on her.
I asked her something like 900 questions, and she's just going, nah, yep.
This is so Gillard, while she was Prime Minister, when she got sick of the innuendo and slander that the Liberal then opposition was saying, she called a press conference with all these journos and said, I am going to stand here and answer any and every question you have for me until you run out of questions. And she did it. These journos actually ran out of things to ask her. As opposed to our current Prime Minister, Tony Abbott, who when a presser goes off topic for him, he literally runs away. This has happened more than once.
If you're not talking on talking points, he actually leaves. He actually turns around and runs away.
He runs. He doesn't say, that's it, and walks away in a dignified manner.
He sprints off.
He runs away from the media. And they think, oh, we've got Gillard now. And she just sits there and takes it. But Abbott runs away. That is the fucking reality. And honestly, and also, speaking of Tone the Terror.
Tone the Terror. Tone's eye.
Today he's decided Australia needs its terrorist threat level raised.
Yeah.
From I think it's medium to high.
Yeah, so we've gone from bugger all to...
Or it's gone from tangerine to chartreuse.
Yes. Oh, I remember the chartreuse days in the 80s.
And it's gone from saying, just give brown people the side eye, to burn down your local kebab joint.
Yes.
I think is what they're saying.
Yes, that's where it's going.
It's like, look, we don't want to alarm you, but you're all going to fucking die! Yeah. Okay? Fuck!
Here to eat your children.
And it's like, a lot of people have been saying, oh, this is Abbott blatantly just trying to distract us from ICAC, or distract us from how bad his budget is, or distract us from his bad poll numbers. No. I just want to say you're giving him too much credit.
Yeah, no.
Really?
No, that's too smooth a move.
Yeah. It's purely and simply, the Americans have announced, we're going to go in and start bombing and doing other shit to the Islamic State, these particular fuckholes who are taking over territory in both Iraq and Syria. Yeah, I mean, I might hang shit on Tony Abbott and the Conservatives generally, but I've said this so many times. I think if you could round these Islamic State fuckos into one little bit and just rain hellfire missiles on them.
Put America's finest industry to work on these.
Or even, look, honestly, give some of our blokes a bit of a run. People saying, oh, we're not going to send combat troops in. Send special forces in.
They'll sort it.
Because we never actually admit when special forces... This goes way back to World War One, World War Two, when they were doing forays into
doing
Africa.
Something over somewhere with some people.
Africa and Europe and whatnot.
And a place.
Like, what were you doing in those places where we hadn't declared war on anyone? Just shooting fuckers who needed being shot.
Yeah, just being a tourist with guns.
Yeah, and it's like, special forces love this shit, man.
Yeah. They're highly trained.
Just send them in there and go, send them in as advisors, okay, and just say to our Iraqi pals, just go, okay, what you want to do is watch what I do now, okay?
Yeah, advise the shit out of him, will you?
Sneak, and
if they've got a black flag, advise the shit out of them.
Provide freedom out that motherfucker's ass, is what we're saying.
Yeah, a bit of that.
Yeah. It's a pretty simple solution, right? A few drone strikes and what, but then, you know, you've trained these special forces guys. Just let them run in. Just let them go in.
Give them a run. Give them, you know, let
suppressed automatic weapons.
Yeah, do what they do, you know. I don't want to know.
What happened? I was never actually there, but I hear there's a lot more dead bodies than used to be.
Whatever. Yeah. Who knows?
You know what, actually, I just want to round off what when you mentioned the black flag, the Islamic State flag, that's your black flag. I really have to do a shout out to everyone in the Islamic countries who their version of the ice bucket challenge is burn the ISIS flag as a viral video. That is just funny. Getting up in the... And that's the weirdest thing. Like, Islamic State, we're going to develop a caliphate. But it's not just that they hate Christians, right? It's not just that they hate Jews, but they actually hate the majority of Muslims.
90% of who they've killed have been Muslims.
It's like, if you are not their particular sect, they will kill you. So the majority of Muslim countries fucking hate these. So it's like, and it's a pretty ballsy viral video to these guys who've been going around murdering people, just like, this is what I think of you. And there were, in fact, a couple of female performance artists, and I've seen the video, and one of them, and they nude up, and one of them shits on the IS flag, and the other one menstruates on it.
Ooh, right. Okay, so she's making a point
I
there.
just want to say, if you probably, the best way to wind up some jihadi fuckwit is for a woman to shit and or menstruate on your flag.
That would do it. That would stir them up a bit.
So, basically, okay...
Food for thought.
Yeah. Abbott and his terror alert is bollocks beyond belief. But you know what? I think, honestly, someone who's less popular with me than the Australian government... Those fuckers. Yeah. Islamic State.
Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck those guys.